There are danger to life flood warnings, and it's been issued as river levels rise in South Yorkshire. Dozens of people have been rescued or forced to evacuate their homes, while others were trapped overnight at a shopping centre. Latest news is that the body of a woman has been pulled from floodwater in Derbyshire. Derbyshire police said emergency services were called to a stretch of the river in the early hours of this morning. The woman, who was reported as having been swept away by floodwater. The family of the woman have been informed, and our thoughts are with them at this time. Our second headline is general election updates. Labour has pledged to extend statutory maternity pay and bolster the entitlement to flexible working in a move to provide radical protections for women in the workplace. Bigger firms would be also required to put in place policies to support women going through the menopause, and a Labour government would create a new workers' protection agency with powers to fine employers who fail to report or take action to deal with their gender pay gap. Bride-to-be 20 has gone from planning her wedding to caring for her fiancé 24 hours a day after he was diagnosed with a grade 4 brain tumour while on holiday. The couple, who have been together 3.5 years and got engaged on Valentine's Day in 2017, were planning to get married in December, but now Aronia is desperately trying to raise $25,000 for Kyra to travel to Germany to try an alternative treatment not available in the UK. This is actually local news, and she has set up a GoFundMe page which has already received nearly $14,000. Please, if we could support this page, this GoFundMe page will be shared on a link on our Facebook page tonight. So please, if we could support that, we would be greatly grateful. But now, for our programme tonight, we are very honoured to have Barbaros Sansal here, a famous fashion designer, with us tonight. I'm very honoured and pleased. But you would prefer to be called apprentice of a tailor. Can we talk about that first?
Yeah,
please
because my master, Mr. Yildirim Mayrik, is still alive.
Yes.
If he calls himself, he's a tailor, what should I can? I mean, it's my master. As far as we have the master in the front, we are apprentices only. Even you develop, doesn't matter, but there is always the top. That's why I just, you know, it's understatement, low profile, but it's very actually sarcasm on the other hand, because everybody is fashion designer.
Yes.
Everybody is fashion designer. What is fashion designer?
It's not an actual profession.
No, it's not a profession.
You actually started.
Yeah, it could be a poster designer, or it could be a drawing. You know, on the streets of London, they draw the people's portraits. It's a designer too. But what in the end, what you have in the hand
is actually a profession. That's
yeah,
right.
It's a profession.
I mean, can we talk about, I mean, you're very, very successful. I mean, you're very humble, but very successful.
Yeah.
You've worked with some very big names, and you've inspired lots and lots of people. How did you begin your journey? Can you tell us a bit
Yeah, I was
about
age of 7. My grandmother is a tailor, so for summer times, for my pocket money, I used to work for my grandmother, sewing buttons, you know, collecting the threads, cleaning around, carrying a piece of fabric to a pleated atelier, etc. This is how I met up with the couture, the tailoring, at the age of 7. So far, I'm 62, so 55 years ago. It's almost a half a century.
Yes.
And then after the high school, I was successfully known working with Vakko, working with Barış Limon, sorry, and started to design and set up the first design school of Turkey studio. And then in 1980, military revolution, I had to leave the country for 9 years as the political reasons. So I was in London for 4 years, and then Switzerland, etc. So I developed more as a talented experience on fabrics, broderies, museums, libraries, others, and fashion week. So and 30 years ago almost, I'm back to Turkey and met with my master. Now we are 50% partners in the huge company. He's the head designer and I'm the apprentice.
Again, so you're back to the beginning.
Yeah, it's the beginning.
That's fantastic. That's one hell of a story. I mean, it's amazing that, you know, you've actually turned full circle and you're actually working with the same person, but obviously you're running this huge company. That must be quite an emotional thing actually for you.
You have to love your business. If you are a professional, there's 3 legs. First, everybody should be satisfied with your work. So it will receive compliments. It should receive compliments.
Yes.
And you have to make your life goes out of your business. You have to make money. One of those 3, if it's missing, you cannot be successful.
Yes.
So you have to look professionally.
I mean, for somebody beginning in this industry, what sort of advice, because that is a lot of our target audience is our youngsters out there, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot who are interested in the fashion industry. What advice would you give them?
First, they have to learn the material. You can not produce, it's not the drawing first, it's the fabric first, the cloth. You have to know the material. As much as material you know, you became better designer. Not only the cloth fabrics, also the side material like balloons, like crinolines, which make the construct of the dress, linings, buttons, zips, all the materials, plus plumery, feathers, drape, lace, and painting in prints, and bijouterie, which is metal work, and also leather work, and which is shoes and bags mostly, or sometimes outfits. So you have to know all the ateliers and procedures to create something.
Yes.
So it's not just drawing a dress and trying to find the fabric to match it. First choose the fabric and then design for the fabric. It's easier. Like, you know, if you have an aubergine in the hand, you cannot make meatballs out of it. You know?
Yeah. So you've got to know your material.
Yeah, the material, and you.
Basic.
And if you are work for individual person like we do on order only, it's a couture, then it's another way. But if you are creating for some people that you don't know, that means who will buy those? That people, they don't know who they are. It's not individual for them. It's the look they buy. They buy the look, the shirt, the coat from certain labels.
Yes.
But they are mostly, if you realize, they don't give the name of the companies in broadcasting, but here in London, in high streets, we see those Spanish origin, Finnish origin, etc., big labels, mass productions. But when you see their windows look like Chanel Avenue Montaigne.
Yes.
But look like.
Look like.
Yeah.
So it's an imitation, really.
The look is not important. Personality, individualism is important in fashion.
Yes. Okay, I mean, that sort of leads me to our next question. What is more fulfilling for a fashion designer? Is it that runway show, the glitz, the glamour, or is it actually designing every day for an individual?
Yeah, shows doesn't bring you money. You spend money at the shows.
Yes, that's true.
You hire the top model, you invite 1,000 people, you rent the ballroom of the 5-star hotel, you create a 60, 70 piece of collection, which each one minimally costs 5 to 10,000 pounds, 500,000 worth it collection you present. But it's not just the designs or the models. You show your atelier's capacity, richness, and the material richness as well. So that's how the creation starts. You know, to make a good wedding cake, you need many things.
Yes.
It's like this. So the shows doesn't bring you much money, and the shows in couture is made for the clients. And in a good couture show, your clients first come before the collection presentation, order the new ones, which will be on the runway. So they come to the show with the newest outfit of the house.
Actually showing it off, wow, yes.
And you have this outfit, and then half an hour later, your outfit is on the catwalk. That's the success of the trends, actually.
Yes, yeah. And actually designing for the couture, you were saying to me before the show how location is very important.
Yeah.
If we talk about that a little bit.
First of all, you have to know if you're in a fashion and you are targeting up being a creator, which has to know tailoring, has to know everything, etc., marketing, strategy, merchandise, advertorial, editorial, never-ending stories. But first, you have to focus target on a style of your own. Like, giving examples of Paco Rabanne, which is a sculpture maker who use metals, plastics, etc. Make a big revolution. Terra Mugres revolution is another thing. If you look all the creators in the fashion history, they have a discovery for the look first.
Yes.
Terry Mugler means crystals. Paco Rabanne means metals. Nina Ricci means tulle.
Yeah.
Monsieur Saint Laurent means the jacket.
Yes.
Jean-Paul Gaultier means the metaphor.
Yeah.
You know? So
Forgotten.
if you check out all these designers, for young designers, I recommend to discover the lives of the big creators and designers first. Learn and take a lesson out of what they did, and try not to imitate them, to
Yes,
find your
be individual.
Be individual.
Yes, definitely. I mean, if we talk about that, you were saying have inspirations. You had lots of inspirations, and you work with inspirational people. Can we talk about that a little bit? Like who inspired you and who you enjoyed working with?
Actually, for
business?
example, I make the wedding dress of the daughter of the Denktaş, and also Erol.
Yes.
And also we work with Zeki Ahmet Yamani, Maria Schneider, Antoinette Sassan, who is the premier lady of Congo, etc. Actually, they are not an inspiration. For us, each individual person is an inspiration. I mean, if you, for example, an example of the Bosporus, Istanbul, there's a big wedding in Kempinski Turan Palace. You cannot make a night blue dress over there because decoration and the carpet is that color. No one will see you.
Yes. So you have to think about your environment as well as the individual.
Exactly, because the space, the font which covers you makes you who you are.
Yes, that's
if
very
you are in a
interesting.
dustbin,
You have to reflect that.
yeah.
Certainly. So it's not just about. So it is important then to actually find out who you are, and what your style is, and then think about your environment as well. So to be an individual, be sure of yourself.
That means several feedbacks and the backgrounds mostly. First, your gender. It's not being woman, man, or gay. It's knowing your body.
Yes.
To
Your
know
size,
your
your
body,
shape.
you should be allowed to make love under the light, not in darkness with silence.
Yeah.
So if you are a good friend with your body, whatever it happens to your body, you get age, doesn't matter. If you are good friends with your body, friendly with your body, then you will be dressed well,
Yes.
in
very much
genderly,
so. Yes.
because the dress is something not you wear. Dress is something you get in.
Yes.
So you need another background of the politic look. I mean, if you have a radical Islamic look, you should have a burqa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Islam is
Your
a very
beliefs.
strict religion and has rules. Also, you have to have economical background for that.
Yes.
It needs finance and money. And also, the last thing is your physical conditions that will determine your style. If this four comes together with a background and richness, then you are Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah. And she always looked the same, didn't she? Even
She never changed.
she never changes.
Grace
Actually,
Kelly.
yeah, their image is
Tina
there.
Turner.
Yes, yes.
Rod Stewart.
They know who they are.
David
Yeah.
Bowie.
And we can all be a David Bowie,
Yeah.
is what you're saying,
Yeah.
as long as you know who you are. Definitely. I mean, that sort of leads me on to merchandising. I mean, what do you think about merchandising
It's
at the
marketing.
moment? Yeah.
I mean, fashion merchandise is a new trend, kind of a trend in the schools to get money off the students and trying to educate them. Every individual company has their own strategies, own secrets, and or targets. You cannot teach this in the school. You can even not teach the economy in the school. You can't teach anything in the school.
No.
You can socialize people, civilize people in the school, but basically you cannot teach because it's not equal everybody's capacity.
Yes.
So this merchandise, trendsetters, stylists, influencers, wardrobe watchers, second-hand hunters. You know, each time on the TV shows we saw such a.
I did that recently in a program.
I was in the
Yeah.
jury of the Bugün Ne Giysem in Turkey,
Yeah.
etc. But these are not educational stuff. These are show business. In fashion, in the 21st century, fashion is not like the 20th century or before. Trends, techniques, materials are getting poorer every day because it's easier to bring up the names into the front with popularity only. It's a soap opera now.
Yes.
A guy comes out, makes a company's collection for one season, and the next season his name even doesn't exist.
Exists, right, yes.
Because he doesn't have an atelier. A painter should have an atelier. A bakery should have an oven.
Yes.
And if it's a 100 years old oven, the taste never changes.
No. Yeah. There isn't a lot of substance to a lot of these companies.
But there is
so-
many franchise bakeries.
Yeah.
They use same technology, same oven, same hole. Everything is same in standard, but tasteless because they're all same.
All the
There is
same.
no difference. Differences and variations are beginning of the creation, and the creation is never democratic. Creation, even God is not democratic. So if that means fashion is a communication of humankind in the society, sexually, politically, economically, religiously, genderly, physically,
Yes.
and socially. The way we look is kind of a first step.
Impression of who you are.
Yeah, until you
your
open your mouth,
identity.
of course.
Yes.
I mean, once you talk, you can destroy
Then
everything.
it's destroyed. That good image that you present, or bad image. That's true. I mean, that sort of leads me on to sustainable fashion. This is something that we've been recently talking about on this program, and you were saying that you don't think it's possible.
It's
Why?
not possible. It's like being vegan or being strict vegan. I mean, they're my friends vegan, but they wear leather shoes.
Yes.
And they eat Haribos, which is totally
Yeah,
jail.
again, yes. Yeah,
there
that's
is
what
no
fashion-
escape, actually.
No.
I mean, sustainable fashion means with environment you have to calculate it. How dare you can make it? You grow cotton, you use pest killer, artificial, even you make the most organic one, which is 150 millimeters like American Akala seeds. I'm in business, you know.
Yeah.
220 millimeters of Egyptian cotton, which is the best, organic ones. And you bleach it to the white,
Yes.
and you repaint it. So 1 square meter of
This is taking up
cloth,
some- yeah.
you destroy 11 liters of drinkable water of the
Yeah.
planet.
Well, this is the thing. It's the water issue. I think in
It's the
fashion we
water
need to
issue,
use a lot of water, don't we? So there's no getting away from it, really.
No way.
So what does that mean? I mean, what does that mean? Do we have to
Like
recycle?
Here they make new trends. I saw one shop, it was in Rotterdam, use it again and again. When you don't use something, when it's reusable, you bring it to center, they clean it and they sell it again.
Yes.
So the money goes for environment and charities and etc. But if you go to second hands, I check out some of in the good addresses, even in London. It's not a second hand; it's a mess. And vintage is very expensive stuff. They don't know what the vintage means.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
It's not an old cloth.
No.
It should be signed. It should be done specially for individual. It should be collected. It should be collection piece vintage.
Yes.
It's not just the food in old. On street market there is a full coat on the road anyway.
If you're lucky, you might find something vintage, but it's
Yeah.
because somebody doesn't know what it actually is.
Yeah, they don't
But
because
really
it's became a
one-off.
fashion
Yeah.
to bring VAT up and bring the the issue up. They say instead of second hand they wrote vintage. Like instead of terzi, which is tailor,
Yes.
they say now modaji, which is
Modaja, that's right.
fashionista.
Yeah, fashionista, yeah.
What is fashionista?
I know. It's not something sustainable,
No.
whereas a tailor is a profession.
Like
it's
doctor.
a craft.
Doctor.
Yeah.
If you call it esthetician, means not doctor.
Yes.
And when you see all the advertorial of Turkey and Cyprus all around the world for this aesthetics, hair plans,
Yes.
including the sex tourism even sometimes,
Yes,
you know.
Yeah.
But they are not doctors.
No, that's true. They've just got a specialism in a certain area,
Yeah.
but that's it.
Like diet, like Pilates.
Dietitian, yes.
This kind of jobs new created. I recommend to the young people if they go onto fashion, they should focus on one unique item. For example, a button, thousands of buttons, millions of buttons, one button less. Hold it on the body with one button only, but that button could be a jewel of your design.
Yes.
You don't have to do everything by yourself. If you need a silk flowers, go to silk flowers ateliers and ask them what you want and make the professional creates for you. If you are a designer, you design, you're a creator, you create, but working with teams. First establish your team, like politicians. One-man show all around the world.
Can't do it.
Erdogan, Tatar, Anastasiadis, Who are the teams?
Yes. You do need a good team.
There is
behind
only
you.
one political party in Cyprus which has a proper team, which is Elam.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what about that? Like, when you created your company, have you always been aware of that, of actually creating
No,
a team?
our company was opened as an ordinary tailor. We used to call a tailor. Now it's became atelier, couture, etc.
Yes.
because international.
Yes.
We are tailor, and we are proud of this.
Of this. It's basically, you're saying keep things simple, think about the basics.
Less
and
is
if you,
more.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Know what you're focusing on. Like, this is for the youngsters.
We are
know what
very
you're
well known
focusing
on embroidery and drapes as
Yeah.
atelier.
I mean, worldwide fashion, we were talking a little bit about that. I find it quite interesting that you actually sort of place fashion
Yeah.
in different parts of the world. Can we talk about that a little
Yeah,
bit?
for example, when you go to Cyprus, doesn't matter north and south, you see all ladies operated boots,
Yes, plastic surgery. Is that quite?
lips like dogs, botulinum all eyebrows
Yes.
is almost parallel, and all
So they all look the same.
the hair extensions, gel nails, with strasses and etc. They all look same, and even street fashion there, because North can sell fake labels.
Yes.
So they have all fake labels on them.
Labels, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even in
All
the
famous
south, they
ones.
come from Arasta,
the
they
fake
buy them
labels.
and they go back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And bulgur köfte has been caught in the customs hundreds of
Oh
them.
my
I was
goodness.
laughing so much because
Yeah.
south used to come take a gasoline,
Yeah.
and some guy took 100 or 200 bulgur köfte.
Bulgur köfte. These are like the special for our viewers who aren't Turkish or Cypriot. It's like a meatball, but it's got like a cover
Covered
on it. It's
with
covered,
galeta,
yeah, and it's very, very tasty. So I can understand why. How many did he have?
200.
200, my
Frozen.
goodness. Well, he obviously was going to take it for his business or something. I know he was going to eat it. He was gonna consume
The
it.
story is so funny. They had a wedding.
A wedding.
He brought 200.
And what, it got confiscated? It was taken away?
Yeah, and all the newspapers of Cyprus for a week.
We're talking about these
200
köftes. How
bulgur
can they
köfte.
do it? I mean, where do you think the forefront of fashion is in the world? Who are the leaders of fashion? France.
And Italy.
I mean,
No
I
doubt.
must admit, when I've gone to Italy, everybody looks beautiful. There isn't one person anywhere that
But
doesn't look
everybody
good.
is individual, if you realize.
Yes, yes.
Not plastic surgery,
No,
nothing.
natural.
Natural.
Yes.
They have a
But
corner.
stylish.
They have a
Stylish,
style,
yeah.
Mediterranean style,
Yeah.
yeah. Italy in ready to wear. Paris on couture.
On couture.
Yeah.
What do you think about couture? Do you enjoy
Yeah, it's a
designing for
laboratory.
couture?
It's an endless sea. It's an ocean. You learn every day. To start to learn, when you start from zero over as a designer or creator or a tailor, you need minimum 5 years to learn the couture first.
Yes.
And 5 years plus, you learn how to make a dress. So education is 10 years.
It's not as simple as it sounds, isn't it? When you say fashion designer, that's why you're saying, no, it's not.
It's
You're
not,
a tailor because
yeah.
you're actually having to learn, yeah.
And then after 10 years, another 10 years, you need the experience.
Yes.
To become a creator tailor, that you can draw, you can choose the material, you can fit it, you can cut it, you can finish it in all sections. That's the top level creator.
Yes.
You need 20 years. 40 seasons you need.
So the youngsters shouldn't rush it. They need to start from the beginning and take their
Yeah,
time
yeah.
and not be consumed. Because I do feel like we live in a society where everything is so fast paced, and youngsters have got
If
this
it's so
pressure.
fast,
You've got to go so quick.
yeah, and
you don't
they
have
go
to.
down so quick.
Yeah. That's good advice. That's really good advice to give to them, because
Take your
that's it.
time.
Yeah.
Take your time.
You've got 40 years basically.
Target your clients first. You have to live better than clients. If you are a young designer, let's say with the income of £2,000-3,000 a month in the suburbs of London, have a little tiny shop and getting lots of difficulties to get the material, because expensive stuff, you need material collection as well. You made several designs. You cannot target the Chelsea and the Knightsbridge there.
No. Know your target audience.
First, you have to start local to become a regional. Once you became a regional, then you can be a national.
Yes.
Once you became a national, you can be an international.
Yes.
Once you are international, your target should be universal.
Yes. Wow. Universal. And that's where you're at, I think.
I'm at that level.
You're
right
at that
now.
level now, you're
That's why I'm going to be
universal.
retired and settle down.
Yes,
in
I was going
Cyprus.
to say that.
I'm going to
for your
open a
future.
fashion philosophy schools in Cyprus International. The name is Gusto Chypro, which is Cyprus is 20 minutes flight to 7 countries: Egypt, Israel, Lebanon,
Yes.
Syria, Turkey, and Greece. So my target is making this fashion philosophy and history school in a like old Greek philosophic strategy,
Yes.
bring all those 7 cultures to Cyprus, melt with Cyprus cultures, and send the agents back all around the Eastern Mediterranean first, and then, because I'm dealing with both governments, North and South, as you
Yes,
know, the
yes,
problem.
Yes.
Well, I'm Turkish Republic of Turkey citizen, but I'm more welcome in the South. That's
Yeah.
so funny. I mean, I face up a lot of unlawful behavior of the Northern registration. They put me in a jail. They deported me from the Isle, which I have a land and
Yes.
house there. So, you know, yeah, I have to keep my hand on Cyprus, because my first arrival to Cyprus was 1965.
Yeah, it goes back a long time, definitely.
And I know all the story, both Marinots including and Armenians
History.
including. I know all Cyprus very well, better than today's Cypriots.
Yes. Which is another thing. I mean, I think this is a recent thing that people are researching the history and where we're coming from. But what about the future for fashion? What do we think about that? That's your future. How about the future for fashion? Is it great? Is it happy?
Accessories only.
Is that where you think it's going to go?
Yeah, because first of all, we will not have this kind of events anymore, like big weddings in the chateau or in grand ballrooms and etc. Rich people go small parties with a private plane and etc.
Yeah.
Ordinary local people, immigrants and etc. You know how their weddings are. It's just pretending.
It's just massive celebrations that goes on for days and weeks and months.
And in the end, nothing. Again.
Yes.
So in the future, fashion is only accessories, like labels, like the political parties. They became a label.
Not much of a personality.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to break
not
free then
producing
and have
anything.
a personality.
There is no discovery underneath, and there is no exploring underneath. It's not live anymore. Once you became static, you're finished.
Yes. And we need to develop and we need to evolve. So that's something to think about for our future designers out there. The last thing that I want to talk about, because we've run out of time, it's just amazing, and hopefully you'll be able to come back. You're back in London in March, and you're going to be known as the White Prince of Fashion.
Yeah.
You're doing a show.
Yeah, I used to do it for a year long in Turkey, one-man show. It's a rhetoric with music. It's very fun. And everybody laughs. At minimum 2 hours, we have great time. It's interactive, it's black bags. The gala will be in London, then we will go to continental Europe, March, April, etc.
Thank you very much for coming.
I thank you very much. You give me an opportunity to hear my voice, because as you know, in my country, I'm totally censored. I'm not allowed to be on press and television. But even those people who put me on censor are my clients as well. So I charge them double for that.
Double? That's fantastic. That's the way to be, isn't it? It's your great inspiration. Thank you so much for coming on my program. Hopefully you'll be able to come again, and we'll talk some more in March. But thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you. That's all from us for tonight. Good evening from Eurogench TV. Thank you.